Stop following traditional leadership advice. There's a reason it's not changing how you show up in the room, and it's not what you think. I'm Dr. Denée Choice. I work with high-achieving women leading in high-stakes, male-dominated leadership environments who are already extremely capable and delivering at a high level, but still feel pressure to prove themselves in rooms where they've already earned their place. I help them stop overworking, over-adapting, and over-functioning and start leading from how they're naturally wired to create value. And before we get into it, I have a free masterclass linked below called How Women Leaders Rise. So if this video resonates, that's where I break this down more deeply and show you what actually needs to change. One of the biggest misunderstandings in leadership development is that if you just keep learning, leadership will eventually just click. That if you find the right framework, the right book, or the right approach, things will start to feel easier and more effective. And to be fair, some of that does help, especially early in your leadership journey. It can give you language. It can give you perspective. It might even help you navigate a specific situation. But that's not the same as actually improving how you lead. Here's the truth. You don't need more leadership advice. You need a different way of leading. That's the distinction. A lot of leadership resources are designed to make you more informed and more effective. But if leadership still feels hard, if you find yourself managing perception, second-guessing yourself, over-explaining, or working too hard to hold everything together, then more information is not the answer. It means the issue isn't what you know, it's how you're leading. This is where a lot of smart, capable women spend years chasing the wrong solution. They keep trying to solve the problem with more input. Another course, another program, another podcast, another leadership book with 5 habits or 7 steps or 3 secrets to executive presence. But information does not change how you lead. You can know exactly what you should say in a meeting and still hesitate. You can understand executive presence and still feel yourself shrinking, compensating, or adjusting depending on who's in the room. You can read all about delegation, boundaries, and influence and still be the person carrying more than everyone else because that's become your default way of creating value. That's why these things fall short. They help at the level of knowledge, but not at the level of behavior. They don't change your leadership behavior. And even when women move beyond books and podcasts, the same pattern shows up in a different form. Leadership courses and programs. On paper, that sounds like the obvious next step. If books and podcasts aren't enough, you think what you need is a formal leadership program, maybe coaching or a mentor. And again, some of those things can be helpful. I'm not dismissing all of it. But a lot of this programming, including what's allegedly designed specifically for women, still carries the same underlying message. Learn to operate more effectively inside the existing model. Be more direct, be more assertive, speak with more confidence, take up more space. Some of that may be useful in moments, but it still assumes that the goal is to become a more effective version of the model you were given. And that's where a lot of women start shaping their leadership around something that was never designed for them. Because the goal is not to become a more impressive version of someone else's leadership model, it's to lead from your own. If the model you've been taught rewards constant output, constant availability, performative confidence, and a narrow definition of authority, then getting better at performing inside that model may make you look stronger for a while, but it won't change how you lead in any meaningful way. It simply makes you better at overriding your own instincts. And leadership gets lighter when you stop working against yourself. This matters because many high-achieving women have been praised for exactly the things that are quietly exhausting them. Being the one who can handle it, being flexible, being reliable, being low maintenance, being collaborative, being willing to step in and fill the gap. So over time, they become incredibly competent, but their competence starts to trap them. They become the person everyone depends on, the one who gets brought into everything, the one who smooths things over, fills in the blanks, anticipates what's missing, keeps the system moving, and quietly absorbs the pressure no one else is handling. And because they're so good at it, it's easy to mistake that for leadership. Sometimes it is leadership, but very often it's compensation. And this is why more advice doesn't change anything. Because you can know what to do and still default to the same patterns that have been reinforced over time. You're over-functioning in response to a system that's learned you will carry more than you should. And once you see that, you can understand why generic leadership advice doesn't work here. That's why it continues to fall short. And worse, it helps women become even more effective at the very patterns that are keeping them overextended. It teaches them how to keep succeeding inside the trap. It doesn't help them get out of it. So what actually changes things is something entirely different. It's not learning more, it's shifting how you lead at the source. Getting clear on how you actually create value. What's natural to you when you stop forcing yourself into someone else's mold. What you should own and what you need to stop carrying so you're no longer working against yourself. This is why my work is centered on helping women lead from their own zone of genius. That's where leadership starts to get lighter, where your influence gets cleaner. That's where you stop spending so much energy trying to prove, manage, monitor, and compensate. So at some point it becomes clear. You can keep trying to solve this with more information, more exposure, more external advice, and more strategies layered on top of a way of leading that's already wearing you out. Or you can recognize that what got you here is not what will change how you lead. What you need now is a different level of support and a different kind of work. Not generic, not one size fits all, not built around helping you conform more effectively. Work that helps you understand your own leadership advantage, trust it, strengthen it, and lead from that place with more clarity and less effort. If you're listening to this and realizing that you've spent years trying to become the kind of leader you thought you were supposed to be, instead of developing the leader you were actually born to be, this moment, right now, is where that begins to change. If you want to go deeper into this, I have a free masterclass, How Women Leaders Rise, that's linked below. I show you what actually shifts when you stop over-adapting and start leading from how you naturally create your highest and best value. And if you want to see what this looks like in real life, in the next video, I'll walk you through how one of my clients completely redefined her role by making this exact shift.